So it's now Friday the 16th of December and this week has not gone to plans. Hey, so welcome to the video. So in previous years, things I've done just before Christmas is made a video normally titled The Last Week Before Christmas, something along those lines. It basically just shows the last week before Christmas. Normally it all goes horribly wrong because of weather and things like that. But it can always be quite difficult to get out because normally you finish sort of Christmas Eve normally because things have gone wrong. And by the time you've made the edit, it's actually January and it's not really relevant. So what I thought I'd do is show a video about the second week before Christmas, if you like, and basically how I engineer it, how I engineer the final week, basically starting at Christmas Eve and then working backwards. Now, for the majority of my lawn care clients, that work's all been done, and in the new year we'll start to look at the winter side of things. Generally up until Christmas it's just dealing with the leaves and any sort of little projects that I can do. Obviously November's been really wet and now we seem to be going into a bit of a cold snap, which will be very festive, but I don't know how well that will help us actually get this work done or not. So while doing the quote, quite often a client will or a potential client will say, oh, so you'll finish at the end of October, and I'll always say, well, the thing is, you know, the leaves are falling down and actually there's no sense in doing all this lawn care, spending all this money, getting your lawn looking great, and then just letting all the autumn leaves just sit on the lawn and ruin all the work that we've done. Actually picking up the leaves is one of the most important parts of lawn care. So it's much more beneficial to carry on collecting those leaves to make sure that in the springtime you still have a lawn, and then rather than all that repair work we did at the start of this year, we don't need to redo that, we can build on from it, getting yourself a better lawn each year. So most of the clients, as I say, jump on board with that and they're happy with that. So we go to the end of we go to the end of November, and then what I try to do in most cases is get in and visit my weekly mowing, my fortnightly mowing during like the final week of Christmas. It takes me a little bit longer than a week now to get everyone cut, but the point being is, you know, realistically we don't have white Christmases, so there's not going to be snow on the lawn covering the grass, and people are having guests and visitors coming round, so they're going to want the garden, the driveway looking as good as possible, so no leaves or debris hanging around. And if you can get a stripe on the lawn, I'm not saying it's essential, but if you can get a stripe on the lawn, why not? And actually a lot of my clients would like that, would like the lawn to be as presented as nicely as it can be. So that's the point of this kind of final week. So the penultimate week, if you want to call it that, that will just be some of the mowing jobs that I can't fit in the final week, and also some standalone leaf clearance jobs. So what I'm going to do now is show you on a whiteboard exactly how I engineer those final 2 weeks. So I'm sure there's very scientific ways of doing it, but this is how I'm doing it with a whiteboard. So the first thing I'm going to do is work out where Christmas Eve is, Christmas Day, etc. For me, I prefer Christmas Eve. It's a much more important day than Christmas Day in a sense. So the plan for me is to never work Christmas Eve. I used to work Christmas Eve when I was employed, but now I'm self-employed. Christmas Eve is a very special day. I don't want to work it. That's not to say I wouldn't work it if the time was, if the scenario was right. So a lot of my clients, you know, I advertise the fact that I do storm damage, branches, trees, etc. I started the company in 2014. Christmas 2013 down in the south was disrupted by a storm which came through on the 23rd of December, which caused absolute carnage. Having spoken to my clients, sort of as I started taking them on in 14, as we spoke about, you know, the Christmas before, it seemed as though there was a lot of work out there. So there could have been some emergency stuff, like clearing any trees which were down just so people could get off their driveways. So although I choose not to work it, if the money's right, I'm not ruling myself out, but that would have to be an emergency sort of situation. I'm still divided as to whether I would do it even then, to be honest. So 23rd. 23rd for me is a backup day. Okay, because if you've watched my videos in the past when I've done the last week of Christmas, things never run smoothly. You're either going to get frost on the ground, which doesn't clear till midday, so potentially half your day's already gone, or you're going to get rain, etc, etc. So 23rd. Effectively all I would do is my mowing week, and then basically do that. Now the problem is now I've got more clients, I can't do that in the final week. So on a Friday I would normally do 3 jobs. There's no way I'll get 3 jobs in. So actually I'm going to do 1 and 2 jobs there, and actually on this Friday up here I'm going to do the 3rd job there. So these two are about 3 hours each, so there's about 6 hours work there. I'm not going to get much more work in. And then that job there, that's a big job which normally takes 3.5 hours probably, where I've got some formal lawns that I cut weekly, and then I've got a lot of other lawns that I sort of alternate fortnightly. So the plan would be is to do all of those lawns, so I reckon that's a sort of a 5 to 6 hour day. Again, I'm not getting any more work in there. So on a Thursday I'd do 3 jobs again. First job is about 2.5 hours. The other jobs are a good 2 hours. So I'm going to do job 1 and job 2 there, and the 3rd job I'm going to put up here. So that's my 3rd job there. On the, what would be the Wednesday, I would have a weekly, it gets a bit messy now, but I do have a job which is going to last only about an hour, so I can probably squeeze another job into there. So that's going to be for 5 hours work. Of course, we're running around getting between the jobs because these ones aren't all next door to each other. That again is going to be 5-6 hours work, so that's a full day there. Then we're going to some smaller lawns which are much nearer each other. So on the 20th there I've got 1, 2 and 3 lawns. The first one normally is about 3 hours. The next one's normally 2.5. And actually I've just remembered the other one has cancelled. So what I will probably do is take that one onto there. So that's 3, 4, 5, and then we'll call that 6. So that's about 6 hours. That will be 5 hours. So that balances that out quite well. And then on this one, I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 is just cancelled, and 5. So 4 jobs there. And we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that'll be about 5 hours. 5 hours work on the Monday. So then Sunday, I choose not to work Sundays if I can help it. Only if it's a really, really wet weather day during the week and I'm so behind. But generally, Sundays I'm not working. Saturday I've left clear. That's my backup day. So I'm just going to leave that for the moment. So the job which I would normally do on a Friday which I couldn't fit in, I've moved up to here. And then the Thursday is the job that I couldn't fit in on a Thursday, so I've moved it up to here. So that one again is another 3 hours. So there's 6 hours and I'm good to go. And then Wednesday, now Wednesday 14th is a non-negotiable. There's a few things in this job which are non-negotiables, and this is one of my child's carol concerts at his nursery. He's going to be singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and a few other songs. I'm not missing that for the world. So I've got a half day. So I've got one job which is going to be a good 3 hours. So 3 hours work there. So I'm happy with that, and that is just some leaf clearance, and I think there's a bit of hedging and stuff. Okay, so that's my half day there, which works out quite nice. And then I've got two separate clients who have big leaf clearances. So these are both leaves, and these are both full days. As much. However, on Monday the 12th, we woke up to snow. So that meant I had to cancel that job, but I have my spare day here, so I've put the 12th's leaves here. Not sure that makes sense. So we had snow. We also then had in the family a sickness bug, and I caught the sickness bug on Monday evening. So that then meant, although we had snow on the ground, still, I was also sick. So there was no work there. Now I've spoken to this client, and as you can see there is just nowhere to fit this in. I don't want to use my backup day because this is a lawn care client who just has an autumn clean-up. These clients all here, these are all clients that I see every single week. So I don't want to put them out for the sake of someone who I see 4 or 5 times a year. Anyway, I've spoken to him, he's happy for me to go into January to do his leaf clearance. So we've got a leaf clearance Jan, and that's a full day. So I know that I've got a full day's work in January, so that's fine. Now, when I went to bed on Tuesday, I wasn't particularly feeling very well, and I didn't fancy getting up a ladder to do a little bit of hedging and stuff. So what I've done is I've cancelled that one, and what I am going to do with that one, so sick but better, is in this backup day down here is going to be the leaf and hedge question mark. Okay, so it is Thursday, first day back at work this week due to illness and the weather, and it was still a complete whiteout. Went to the 2 jobs I was supposed to do, couldn't get them done. Far too wet, far too frosty, snowy, whatever the word you want to call it. A bit of both, I would say. I thought even maybe I could blow the leaves, which were sort of in the shade, but even they were frozen together. So Thursday, the only thing I did get done was an emergency fence quote. So it's now Friday the 16th of December, and this week has not gone to plan. So actually it was so cold yesterday, started off at -7, I think -8. As I was saying, basically it was so cold the battery, which on my camera, which had fully charged, just the cold had just drained it. So so that's why the bit you just saw just ended very quickly, and I was talking about emergency fencing. That's something that we'll wait to see if I get to do the job. If I do the job, obviously I'll show you what I'm doing. If I don't, then I'll possibly discuss it in another video, but I'll just wait to see what happens with that one at the moment. So it's now Friday, and basically Monday was a snow day, Tuesday was a snow and sick day, Wednesday was a feeling better day, but didn't want to push it, certainly didn't fancy climbing up the ladder for the job that I had booked in. And then the afternoon, I already was a non-negotiable, not missing. Thursday ended up being a complete snow, frozen day, as I say, -8. Now we're on to Friday the 16th, and it is -8 or whatever it is again. The phone is saying -8. So what can't speak can't lie, as they say. So yesterday I did try to blow leaves, and I tried to do some of the jobs that I had to do, but the leaves were just frozen solid. I couldn't shift them. The lawns are completely white, so running out of ideas for this week, to be honest. The rain's supposed to be coming in, the temperatures are supposed to rise, so next week's looking wet, but hopefully it's not too wet. Hopefully the lawns aren't that frozen that the thaw, you know, as it comes out of the ground, creates surface water. So we shall wait to see. So what that does mean, so what that does mean for my table here is that Thursday was a blackout, as was Friday. Now, depending on what happens tonight, will, I guess, depend on whether that leaf job can go ahead. With regards to all these days here, all these mowing jobs, well, they're supposed to be mowing jobs, they might just be leaf clearance jobs if nothing else. I'm not going to fit them all in. I've got the one which I'm supposed to be doing today. That's quite an important one for me, because that would normally have been down here, if you remember, as a Friday job. So I need to get that one back onto here. So what I'm going to need to do is rethink how I work it. But the strategy I'm going to go with is I'm going to prioritise all my weekly clients. Okay? That's the advantage of being weekly over fortnightly. There has to be some advantages, and you know, in an ideal world I want everyone to be weekly, so that is one of the perks of being weekly, is that in times like this you will get a priority over others. So that's all I can do really, and then just have a look at the gaps where I've got and try and fit some fortnightlies in, depending on location, I guess, because it is, you know, light-wise, it's going to be the shortest week of the year, so I haven't got too much time to play with. Having said all that, the reality of what I'm doing is they're just little bonus jobs. The majority of the leaves now have been cleared. The grass probably doesn't need cutting in the sense that the grass is out of control when it's long and stuff like that. It's just little bonus tidy up jobs. So if I can't do them, it's not the end of the world. But you know, the plan is to try and do them. So I'm quite relaxed about whether I can do this work or not. And I you know, as I'm sure a lot of my clients are quite relaxed. If I'm in, I'm in. If I'm not, it's not the end of the world. So yeah, we will. It continues. But what I'm going to do today, I think, is just have a bit of an office / workshop day. So I've got a lot of sharpening and stuff to do for hedge cutters, chainsaws, all that sort of stuff, which you know, should have been done in the summer really, but just haven't had time to do. I'm in the middle of trying to find 2 mowers. I think I found them. Hopefully that will be finalised and possibly paid for today. I'll talk more about that in another video. So I've got that to do, as well as I'm having to move out of my office upstairs temporarily, so there's a lot of tidy up of paperwork and filing and stuff like that, just so nothing gets lost. Spoke to my accountant yesterday, so all January's bills are all taken care of and dealt with, so that's something I haven't got to worry about in January, so that's great. So yeah, somehow in a pretty good place, but I guess just more frustrated than anything. So what I am going to do, because I think this is kind of it for this video, post over the weekend the previous videos I've made of the final week before Christmas, as it will be the final week before Christmas, so that will give people option to rewatch those. If you're new to subscribing, hi, it's not normally like this, and you may not have seen them because I think one was in 2018 and actually the one was last year, so yeah, it'll give you an option to watch those. And yeah, it's the same carnage, it's just a week earlier of this video, without actually getting anything done. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this strange video, and have a great Christmas, and I will see you in the new year. Yourself a merry little Christmas.